Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, yes, as we expected, we have one more developer match for Street Fighter 6. This time, Cammy versus Manon. And personally, I'm happy to see more Manon footage because she hasn't been shown too much, and we get a few more ideas about the character, and of course, a lot more ideas about how Cammy works in general. So, as with all these developer matches, well, let's just rewind back to the start and let's break everything down bit by bit. So, to open up, just some nice intros here. Cammy tightening her gauntlets, and Manon, the one thing that really stuck out to me here is the size difference. Manon is like more than a full head taller than Cammy is. I guess it's because we keep seeing Manon compared against Marissa in all the fights and all the footage we have. But yeah, Manon might be the third tallest character. Starting the fight off looks to be stand heavy kick from Manon. She definitely has the range. I love this parry start animation. Most everyone else is like taking up a defensive stance and Manon's just striking a pose instead. Doesn't work out for her as she eats a forward throw from Cammy, which looks very vicious. A drive rush, which creates plus frames when blocked, and to another forward throw, just really breaking Manon's neck on this. And in the interim here, just a bit of flitting around, not too much commitment. The one thing here, Manon's crouch light kick has some ridiculous range. Like, it's definitely not the biggest deal in the end, but at this range, most casts crouch light kick would definitely whiff. So she's got big buttons. And now we see Cammy jumping and Manon going for her big wheel kick. Now, it's definitely a move we've seen before, but not necessarily in the anti-air property, not the least of which she gets a guaranteed juggle after the fact, and she didn't burn bar. So this, now that we know this, might be her analog of a Dragon Punch equivalent. Although with the juggle added and the fact she can follow up, that damage is pretty spicy for a simple anti-air. Especially a meterless one. So if that has like any kind of anti-air invulnerable properties against jump-ins, that will be a very dangerous move. Like, it'd be very bad, like worse than average to jump against Manon if that is the case. In fact, doubly so, as we'll see in some later footage in the match. Now, next up, it's grappler time. So drive rush from Manon. Taps does connect, so no combo, but effectively was attempting to go for the 50-50, create plus frames with the drive rush, and now guess strike or grab. Manon is our other truly dedicated grappler besides Zangief. In fact, she has a whole mechanic around the grabs, right? And you can see at the end of the grab here, she has one medal level, and by the end here, the medal level goes up to 2. She's the momentum grappler, and every time she grabs you, her grabs get better and better and better, thus kind of skewing the risk-reward. It's easier to take the grab earlier in the match, it's worse to take the grab later in the match. And if you want to learn more about her, check the video linked at the end of this video. And we'll have some more to say about drive rush for Manon specifically later, but basic setup here, drive rush, hit, go into grab. Now, another thing to talk about the grab, and I know, this is the rooflemonger channel, I'm going to talk about grabs, okay? So the grab here is actually quite slow. If you watch it in real time, you won't really notice it, but in slow-mo, from start to finish, it actually takes 10 frames to go, unlike, say, Zangief's 5 frames. However, you might notice in the animation, she's stepping forward into it quite a bit. Versus, say, this example you're seeing here from other footage, where she doesn't step into it as much, and it actually comes out on the quote-unquote regular grapple timing. So for Manon, it may be the case, could be wrong, may be the case, where depending on the button you press, the further she'll go, but the slower it'll take. Usually how it goes in Street Fighter is grabs always have the same startup no matter what. A lighter grab will have more range but less damage, heavier grab will have less range but more damage. But since Manon's whole mechanic is grappling, perhaps it works just a little differently for her. Maybe they always do the same damage, and the button press is slower but more range. Once again, don't know for sure, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but we definitely have footage of the same grab having different startup timings. Here we see Manon go for an empty jump and get counter hit, so she was probably going for empty jump for another grab. That's grappler brain, that's gonna happen, but you know, didn't work for her this time. Next up from Cammy, we get an EX dive kick. So this might be a true overhead because it doesn't do too much damage, doesn't knock down. So that's sort of what would make it fair if it was a true overhead. Manon is crouching and right before she gets hit, I don't know if she looks like she's getting forced in like proximity block or trying to stand up, but regardless, she definitely gets hit. Next up here, so we get a little bit of pressure, and with the back knuckle, Manon follows up with a reversal grab and connects, and this grab is 5 frames unlike the 10 framer we talked about earlier. So a bit more ammo for that speculation, and with another grab, her grab level goes up to level 3. This unlocks more damage and new animations for the grabs. At which point here, back to neutral, bunch of flitting around. We're going to see a cross up from Cammy here, jump light kick into a very nice 3-hit confirm. So normally most confirmed Street Fighter you're going to get about roughly 2 hits. This is a 3-hit light confirm that makes life really easy for you. Next up, right into Hooligan, guess for the grab. Manon was standing, so she's gonna get tossed. We'll see more later in the video here, but this is probably the best version of the Hooligan that Cammy has ever had. Also to note here, so Cammy goes for that EX dive kick and then throw and tech. Cammy, going frame by frame, is plus after this. So Cammy gets another effectively easy brain dead offense tool to create pressure. Yay! Cammy drive rushes, then immediately does a backdash afterwards to avoid something, doesn't come out. Drive rush gets blocked. Very strong range on stand light kick for Cammy. That's a lot of range. That's going to be a good tool. Some flitting around in neutral. Attempt of a drive rush into a grab from Manon, but no dice here. Cammy goes right into a super as a punish, and that's the round. To mention here with Manon, now that we've seen the Zangief footage, Manon has to easily have the worst drive rush in the game. We used to think Zangief would also have bad drive rushes because grappler, but I guess not. Manon's drive rush is not good at all. And after the round win, Cammy poses down. Starting round 2, a bunch of flitting around in neutral. Cammy goes for an ill-advised jump, and then we get this piece of business. So again, we see the wheel kick, although this is the EX version this time around. And since it's the EX version, I guess there's a bit more juggle height because we get a different ender. So after this particular juggle, Manon goes for her hit grab. The hit grab is also affected by the entire metal mechanic for grabs. The only difference being a hit grab, you can use it in combos. So at the end of this move, we start now at 3 metal level, and when it's concluded, we'll be at 4. And also, just like the regular grab, it's buffed as well. This is the level 3 and 4 version of the move. And for comparison's sake, this is the level 1 and 2 version of the move. As you can see, while still certainly flashy, not quite as devastating, right? So both the command grab and the hit grab have unique animations at level 1 and 2, level 3 and 4, and at level 5. So not only are you doing more damage, when you see the more damaging looking animations, that's the other indicator, okay, you let her level up just a bit too much. Now, after the move completes, Manon immediately goes for a drive rush into another grab attempt. Since the Cammy player backdashed that, and you know, they're developers playing the developer build, I'm going to assume that would otherwise be a guaranteed setup, but the other player was smart enough to realize it for what it was, which is why they backdashed into a big time whiff punish. Cammy then goes into Hooligan into the new axe kick follow-up, and then also gets a back throw, which indicates to me that the axe kick is definitely plus on block. All things considered, it's certainly not the fastest move in the world, right? So I think that's fair enough, so it's a good tool for her to pressure with. And this back throw, Cammy thinks she's a grappler or something. That's like a big time Lucha Libre throw. So after the knockdown, some buttons are pressed here. We're going to see another drive rush out of Manon. Once again, the range compared to most characters just doesn't seem like much. But there is this interesting sequence here that definitely proves a Manon player is operating on grappler brain. Drive rush attack, I'm plus, I know you're going to jump, so this time I'll do my vacuum move. Manon has a set of target combos that literally vacuum the enemy into her, so you're directly touching her while she's advantage on hit, therefore you have to immediately guess strike or guess grab. And Manon's thinking, well, I caught you trying to jump once, therefore you definitely won't jump again, I better go for my grab, whoops, you jumped. And Cammy proceeds to cave her skull in. The one thing to note here is crouching heavy punch for Cammy links into crouching medium punch. And that's rarer in Street Fighter 6, not to say it doesn't happen, but just heavy into mediums don't seem as prevalent in FF6. So it's a good little bonus for Cammy. Now after this is some of the sneakiest things I've ever seen out of Street Fighter 6. So Hooligan has a fast fall option now. So normally before, if you just let it rock, she would do the leg slicer, which would be a low. Now you can just empty cancel it and let it rock. So here, Cammy goes for a low, catches Manon standing, but then she could also potentially go for a throw attempt or re-jump or whatever. So having a fast fall out of Hooligan is really, really, really good. Now, just to put it out there, I do a lot of work with trailers in slow-mo, and it's hard not to notice that Cammy's everything jiggles when she does stand medium kick. So if you didn't know, now you know. So after this sequence here, bunch of flitting in neutral again here, Manon goes for her twirl, but she can do the twirl without doing the hit grab part. So potentially a good fake out tool. And as we saw earlier, don't jump against Manon if she's ready for the wheel kick, because not only will she get the kick, she'll get the follow-up, which does some pretty big damage. And of course, now you're scared, now you're blocking, get grabbed. This is a level 4 grab, does a lot of damage. And for comparison's sake, that little bar you're seeing here at the bottom, I made this on Twitter, and you should follow my Twitter if you don't, at rooflemonger. And this is her level 4 grab compared to Zangief's heavy spinning pile driver. Zangief's heavy SPD only does a few more points of damage than her level 4. So this indicates to me that her level 5 grab will do more damage than Zangief's grabs. Unfortunately, we don't get to see it in the trailer, but still, it's food to keep in mind. Level 5 Manon is probably the actual scariest grappler in the game. So after that, Manon goes for drive rush tricks, doesn't work. Cammy fights back. Then we see this. So we haven't seen this in a while. This is Manon's Jaguar kick. We saw this only one other time and only for the one move. So it's about what you would think. Adon styled, if you will. A quick hop kick might go over lows, crush lows, considering the height. Looks to be a true overhead as well. I'm assuming this is the light kick version, considering it connects rather close. The other time we saw it went much further. Cammy, while crouching, enters block state and still gets bopped. Therefore, definitely reads as an overhead to me. So definitely a strong way to close out a round when you can't get that extra grab in. Now for the round win here, we see Manon go on her tippy toes. And on her tippy toes, she's like as tall as Hugo or Abigail. It's terrifying. Manon is actually really big. And not above sassing her enemies either. Entering our final round, let's go for the classic. Poke into super no hit confirm, let's go! And we finally get a proper look at Manon's level 3, and it's amazing. Oh my god. Very rarely have I ever seen a super so truly style on your opponent. You're both dance partner and ragdoll for Manon at the same time. And just when you think it's all good, here comes the mega level judo throw that's gonna take your life. And it's a really small detail, but I like how each pose does a little bit of damage to you. So technically you could die on one of the poses. Now obviously you'd only die at the end of the super animation, but still, I like that. It's just interesting to me. So after the super, back to neutral, a few pokes back and forth here, quick forward throw from Cammy, and then this barrage which gets parried non-stop. And Manon's parries are actually really cool. Like, just stopping you with ballerina grace spinning every single time. I already liked Manon purely off the case that she was a grappler, right? But seeing this kind of flair the character has, this kind of style, is just really next level. They're putting a lot of attention to detail. The only person not paying any attention to detail is Manon here, as she gets cooked by the hooligan axe kick overhead. Cammy special cancelled into it off the stand heavy punch, so there's certainly time to react. Although that said, even the best of us get caught asleep at the wheel sometimes. Axe kick on regular hit gives enough frame advantage to go into the back medium punch target combo, juggle, and then splat the enemy back down to the ground. Gives a lot of frame advantage to just walk up and pressure, and then goes for another forward throw. And a lot of forward throws, I like that animation, just looks very deadly. Manon attempts to escape the corner, but gets thrown back in, lucha style. And then Cammy, having enough of this, goes for the madman play to end the round, burning all the drive bar in an instant. So we have a crouch medium kick coming up from Cammy, drive rush cancel from a normal takes 3 bars, jab, EX spin knuckle, which crosses side, steals the corner, Manon did not block correctly, and then going into our level 3 super. Now here's the thing, just like last week with the Lily trailer, turns out we have a little bit of a case of mistaken identity, as what we seen from the leak way long ago is actually the regular level 3 super. So the other version we saw was actually the critical art. And honestly, I think the regular level 3 looks a lot more dynamic than the critical art version. After the super, another forward throw, and that's all she wrote. I think Cammy got more grabs off than Manon did in this match. Maybe Cammy's the real grappler here. So with this match done and over with, I guess I would say it's not as interesting as last week's Lily versus Honda, if only because we knew a lot less about both those characters. Cammy fans, I don't mean to insult you here, but Cammy's a lot more vanilla of a character, a lot less to be discovered. Although I will say, I'm very impressed by the hooligan now, especially seeing the options here. The axe kick plus enough on regular hit, don't need counter hit or whatever to get a combo. Seems to be a proper overhead as well, that's good. And the fact that she has fast fall and can cancel out into whatever mix-up, that is potentially quite powerful. And while I can't guarantee it, I feel like you could almost certainly create quite a few reversal safe setups from it. Go into hooligan, they think they can uppercut you on their wake up, and then you fast fall and not catch the uppercut, go for full punish. Definitely something with a lot of options to be explored. And as for Manon, the biggest thing is I just want to see what that level 5 grab damage is. We've seen the actual level 5 animation, which is really good. It's very impressive, but it was in like trailer form without a UI, no health bar, so we never saw the damage. You gotta assume the level 5 grab being the whole mechanic based around it, right? Level 5 grab damage has to be terrifying. It has to be a sight to behold, but we have still not yet beheld it. Still very happy with the fact that she is the momentum grappler, just because it skews risk reward. Like early in the match, you're not scared of the grab because it doesn't do much damage. And then later in the match, then the grab does a lot of damage, so you definitely have to avoid it. So it's not quite a 50-50 anymore, right? Earlier on, it's weighted that the grab is worth taking. Later on, it's weighted that the grab is not worth taking. And you have to mentally do the mind games which one's going to be which, more than the usual grappler 50-50. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out, but on paper, I really like the idea. Manon's drive rush seems really bad too. Like, it's definitely got to be like the worst drive rush in the game, which to a degree, fair enough, because you can't have, you know, the steamroller grappler character have an amazing one. But then again, Zangief does have a really strong one, so who knows the balancing decision on stuff like that. The big takeaway here is the level 3, Manon's level 3 is amazing. This is the regular version as well. So I would love to see what the critical art version does, because how do you improve on this? This is downright inspired. This is downright creative. It's really, really good. And past this, all roads lead to EVO Japan, which is later this weekend. Almost certainly will have some kind of Street Fighter 6 news. Who knows what it'll actually be? Will it be another trailer? Will it be a look at World Tour mode? Maybe we'll get that fabled open beta announcement that we've all been waiting and hoping for. Who actually knows? But I feel pretty safe, or at least pretty hopeful, in that there'll be something, along with other games, like stuff for Tekken, and hopefully a Virtua Fighter 6 announcement. That would be absolutely fantastic. But until then, my friends, that's the video, that's what we got. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.